Welcome everybody to another round of World of Tanks subscriber replays. My name as always is Maxwell, and today's first video is from the user Damscore. That's Damscore, and he's driving the T-34-3 on a standard battle on the Abbey. T-34-3 being a tier 8 medium tank for the Chinese. Pretty good tank. It's got a decent gun, decent armor, and decent maneuverability. Not quite as good as the Type 59. Then the Type 59 has been ruled to be one of those cheaty tanks. It just seems to be far too good for its tier. So anyway, Damscore going to be heading all the way to the left-hand flank here. Going to use his speed to get there before anybody else, and see if he can spot anybody out. That is the plan. He's got a Tiger 2 and an FC-M50T in back up there, and you can see a Hellcat taking the other route to try and get up onto the ridge before anybody else. Damscore just taking up a hull down position, as the turret on these tanks tend to be pretty damn strong. Spots out a Panther 2 there. A little bit unfortunate not to penetrate there. Now the accuracy of the Chinese guns isn't fantastic. It's decent, but it's not what they are known for. You see, just waiting for this Panther 2 to poke his head out again. Hopefully he'll make a mistake, but it looks like he's playing a little bit too smart. The Hellcat has turned up in backup there. Guys in the rear providing covering fire, while Damscore heads up onto the ridge. The Jagdpanzer 4 has moved up here now. The Hellcat's already had a shot at him. Damscore should be able to, there we go, take him out for his first kill now of this match. He's going to fall in behind the Hellcat, and the two of them look like, well, the Hellcat maybe not, but Damscore certainly wants to push on forward, as all they've seen so far is this Panther 2, and now a super Pershing. Panther 2 heading up onto the ridge there. Damscore takes a little bit of damage from him, nothing significant, and gets a good hit back in return. Panther 2 just thinking that maybe cresting up on top of this hill might not be the smartest choice, especially with a Hellcat and a T-34-3 here. So Damscore just going to play it smart here, keep as much of his weak spots covered as possible while he sets up to try and take shots at anybody who decides to come up that ridge. But I think the Panther 2 has had second thoughts here. May actually have just decided to go and totally relocate. The Super Pershing decides to come up on top of the hill to offer some support, but he's got a lovely rock here where he can get a beautiful hull down position. Unfortunately not quite able to get a hit on the Super Pershing as he's too well protected, but he is able to get another good hit on that Panther 2 there. Just spinning his gun across to have a look at the village there. As you can see, an IS, but he's just totally let down by his gun depression there, just because of a slight change in elevation of the land. They're not able to get a hit on that IS, but he is able to get a hit on that Panther 2 and take him out, and that's kill number 2. And I think this Super Pershing has realised that he's in a really bad spot here, as this FC-M50T and the Hellcat are flanked all the way around behind him. So he's had to spin and put his front armour to face them, and that's going to allow Damscore to just come around here and put another one through his rear. Super Pershing decides that all he can do is just charge forward here, try and get some damage before he gets taken out, but his track gets removed, and then Damscore removes him from the game, and that's kill number 3. So the Allies done a fantastic job of overrunning this flank. I mean, they did have more tanks than the enemy anyway, but just working together and working as a team, none of them died and none of them took any significant damage, and they were able to remove a Panther 2, a Super Pershing, and a Jagdpanzer 4 from the field of play. Now it's going to be a case of heading over towards the enemy base to find who they can. Finds a Tiger 2 here. Going to take his time aiming on that lower glacis, as the Tiger 2 had no idea he was here. Then backs off behind the rock here and allowing his gun to reload. Does have a decent length reload on this cannon of 12.5 seconds. Once his reload's pretty much done, going to poke himself out again. That Tiger 2 gets himself taken out. But they've got a, what's that, a Jagdpanther 2 now to fire on. He's pretty well defended though. A lot of him is down behind the terrain. Not anymore. And Damscore is able to get another big hit out there, doing just over 400 damage to that Jagdpanther 2. So they've still got that that Panzer. It looks, what's that? A Tiger 2 and a Rheinmetall defending the base. but they've got the 50T and that Hellcat circling around. The Hellcat looks like he's taking the long route around, and he can definitely afford to do that. IS from earlier, who was still in the centre of the town, has landed a big hit on the front of him here. So he's got to be careful. Just keeping his gun focused on the area in case that, that IS decides to poke himself out again. But it looks like he is playing it smart, considering he doesn't have very many hit points himself. That FCM-50T waiting for the Hellcat before he makes a move. That Tiger 2 finally deciding that he's used up his camping spot for all it's worth, and he's going to be advancing forward as well now. But it looks like the enemy team's got a pretty determined defense in and around their base here. You see quite a lot of tank destroyers and tanks all set up, waiting to try and repel any attackers. Hellcat and the FCM-50T both in position. And Damsko looks like he's going to try and maybe head up this hill and see if he can get some hits on people, or at least keep them spotted so these allies can get hits on them. Reversing all the way back here. Is able to get eyes on the Rheinmetall and then is able to plant a shot straight through the side of him and pick up kill number 4. Now he's going to be relocating. Still got this Tiger 2 and that Panzer Soufflé over there. And there is a Jagdpanther 2 off in the distance somewhere. He's almost certainly going to have run away though at this point. If I was him, I'd be heading down that long road. It's a beautiful shot on the very top of that Tiger 2 to take him out there. Did take a hit from the Soufflé for his trouble. Now he's only got about 184 hit points left, so can't afford to be reckless anymore here. Got to play it carefully. The FCM-50T and the Hellcat and the Tiger 2 all closing the net in now on the base. Damsko decides to... No, I was going to say decides to head around the front of the base, but looks like he's going to allow the Tiger 2 to do that. Going to try and pop himself up, maybe try and get some eyes on this tank destroyer wherever he is. There he is. He has a shot at the FCM. Looks like he may have fluffed it, in fact. Nope, did take his track out and get some good damage. But Damsko's able to get a huge hit through the front of his armor there. Big roll. And that FCM's able to take him out. And that is the base all won now. The enemy team still does have 4 tanks left, though. Looks like most of them are in this central area. Damsko's going to see if he can finally get a hit back on this IS. Get some revenge for the damage he took earlier on. And indeed he can, and that is kill number 6. And that just leaves this IS-6 and the Jagdpanther 2. IS-6 was last seen in that little road to the left-hand side. And indeed, that's where he still is. He's taking hits from the allied team. Damsko can get himself into position. He should be able to take this guy out with one hit. Fingers crossed he can land a shot in the right place, because this IS-6 can prove to be a bit of a tough nut to crack. Looks like he's hiding behind the buildings at the moment. Got to be careful if he backs off too far. There's a couple of Hellcats back in the base that may want to have a word with him. IS-6 decides to rush forward, has a shot and misses, but Damsko doesn't. Takes him out. And that is the battle for this side of the map all won now. Jagdpanther 2 was actually last spotted down in the allied base there. So it looks like he's making some moves to try and attack. He's all that's left of the enemy team now. You can see he's down in that southern area along the road here. Damsko going to see if he can flank around behind him. Looks like that FCM-50T is steaming in to try and get this kill as well. Damsko definitely like to secure it himself, as that would mean the difference between a Radley Walters medal and not. And I think this FCM has blood in his nostrils, and he's desperate for this one coming in. Oh, he has his shot, but it's not enough to take him out, and Damsko gets the kill. That's kill number 8, almost 5,000 points of damage, and an absolutely awesome game there from Damsko in his T-34-3. Thank you very much for sending that replay in. Don't forget to stick around, because as always, the score screens and another game are coming right up. And our second replay of the day is from the user Tipson. That is Tipson, and he's driving the Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger on a standard battle on the hidden village. I think for easy pronunciation's sake, I'm either going to call it the Rheinmetall or the Borsig from now on. So that being a tier 8 turreted tank destroyer for the Germans. Now it has a choice between using either the cannon that he's got, which is the 150mm, that does horrendous amounts of damage, but is very, very slow firing. Or it also gets a longer gun with a smaller caliber. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure somebody will be able to fill you in the comments. But that gets a much shorter reload speed, but it doesn't have those beautiful, beautiful alpha damage numbers that this one tends to have. So he's going to be heading along this southern flank here with the rest of his allies, setting up behind some trees here. Going to see if he can get some damage on anybody. This replay is a little bit slow to start, as tends to be with tank destroyer replays. But then it does warm up in the middle to the end, trust me. Sees a tree fall in the distance there, deciding whether it's a tank camping there or just moving through, with the 100M1 being spotted there. I think that was the tank, and he just moved through there and set himself up in this position. Gets his track taken off by the artillery here, and Tipson should be able to finish him off. Oh, gets a beautiful shot there. I thought that one was going to go just over the top because of the arc of the shell there. But nope, that one just sailing straight through his armor, and he picks up a kill really, really early in this match. So what tends to happen with these exciting tank destroyer replays is they start off really, really slowly, and then the allied team all goes and gets themselves killed, and then the tank destroyers have to go and carry the match late on. Oh, a little bit unfortunate he missed that ISU 152, but he's only 4 seconds out from reload, so hopefully if he sits in the same spot and stays spotted, should be able to land one on him this time, and indeed he can. Gets a huge 815 damage hit there. And I think that ISU 152 is going to have to think twice about his positioning now, but he gets himself taken out by the Super Pershing. And now Tipson just going to get himself in position to try and get a hit on this Tiger 2. Got to be careful he doesn't just hit that front plate instead of hitting, because that one would have certainly bounced there with the oblique angle that it was at. Instead of hitting the front plate, he hit the impenetrable rock instead. Sees an AMX-12T sort of... Oh no, he's on the other side of a mountain. Never mind. Sees the Tiger 2 again. That one unfortunately only takes his track out. Track on the Tiger 2 being OP and eating all of that damage. Battle's not going particularly well for the allied team so far. They're holding their own in the southern flank here, but in the north there, it seems like they have been pushed back and they've been totally routed from the town there in the north. Tipson going to remain in position here. Really, really wants to get a hit on this Tiger 2. Decides to switch up to the turret, but the Tiger 2 just confounds him a little bit by dropping back just as he fires there. And Tipson deciding that it's time to relocate and get a little bit closer to the action. Still does want to try and get hits on this Tiger 2. You can see in the north, well, not the north, but just above him here, the Pershing and Tiger 2 in a protracted battle here with the rest of the enemy team. That T-28 prototype looks like he may be being a pain in the ass, as that thing tends to be a little bit difficult to shift once it's in an entrenched position. Super Pershing deciding to just try and charge him down. Tipson seeing if he can get a shot on him, but it looks like he's just behind that mountain or rock there, as is the IS-3 and that Tiger 2. But the T-28 pokes himself out a little bit, but not far enough, and Tipson isn't able to get a hit on him. Backs off a little bit to try and see if he can get something if that T-28 pokes himself out a little bit more. Don't think he's going to be able to get anything on him, so he's going to have to try and relocate again. Not being able to find any targets here, and this game is quickly slipping out of their grasp here. Currently losing at 9 kills to 5. So the allied team just deciding, screw it, it's time to push. The Pershing heading around the corner gets a good hit on the Tiger 2 here. Tipson follows around, aims in on that lower glacis of the Tiger 2, takes his shot and takes him out. That's only his second kill so far, even though we're about 5 minutes into this match. And as you can see, the allied team has been totally routed from the north there. Everybody in the town and on that central flank there being taken out. So it's up to Tipson to move back here and try and fend off some of these guys, as the battle in the south here is totally won. If he can hold their attention from the north here, then hopefully his allies can get around behind them and with that pincer maneuver, they may be able to pull this game back, as at the moment they're losing 7 kills to 10. Finds a T-28, not a prototype, just a standard one here, so he's going to take forever to turn around. Tipson's got all the time in the world just to take his shot and take him out, which indeed he does. Now, as you can see, a T-32 starting off a base capture here. Got an AMX 1375 bringing up the rear. Got to be careful here, but I don't think the T-32 is particularly aware. He would have known that Tipson's here, so obviously the T-28 spotted him out. So the T-32 knows that the Rheinmetall's here, but I don't think he's paying attention. As you can see, just sitting stock still, staring in one direction there. So Tipson just got all the time in the world to let his gun close in and gets a big hit on him there. And even with that damage, I'm not really sure that that T-32 started to make a move. The MX 1375's come around the corner. I don't think he realises that Tipson's still reloading, because he just takes one shot and then Tipson points his gun at him and he backs off. He's going to move forward towards his base now, try and keep the mountain on his right-hand side between himself and that AMX. Not really sure what that T-32 was doing. He was looking in completely the wrong place as he was driving forward there, and Tipson was just able to finish him off. Now going to try and get this building between himself and this AMX, and the AMX has got to be starting to shit bricks right about now, although the rest of Tipson's allies have managed to get themselves killed somehow. Looks like the guys in the north, rather than all pushing on for the base, have decided to collapse around the allied team and get them in a pincer maneuver. AMX 1375 becomes kill number 5 now. ARL 44 still pressuring in on base. The enemy team's mostly just got lower tier tanks left at the moment, so hopefully Tipson can play some cleanup now, but the armor on this Rheinmetall isn't particularly great, so any of these, even though they are lower tier tanks, any of these remaining tanks should be able to penetrate them and do damage no problem whatsoever. Especially that KV-1S, he's going to be able to do massive damage to the Rheinmetall here. And even that Churchill 7 with his fast-firing cannon is going to be able to do considerable damage whilst the Rheinmetall here is reloading. So we're going to speed this one up a little bit till we get back into the action. See the ARL still desperately trying to go for that base capture there. Spots out the AMX 12T. Just going to try and close him down rather than trying to flank around him, as a 12T is easily going to outflank a Rheinmetall. And I don't think the 12T realised what direction the threat was coming from, as Tipson just comes around the corner, catches him with his pants down and takes him out, and he becomes kill number 6. So that just leaves a KV-1S and an SU-8, as it looks like that ARL managed to take out the Churchill Mark 7, so a good bit of play by him before he goes down. Now it's going to be a case of moving in on cap. Although this SU-8 may be able to ruin the Rheinmetall's day if he's careful, this KV-1S obviously has no idea where the Rheinmetall of Tipson is. So he's going to try and get a little bit closer. I think he may have been revealed now, but the KV-1S has poked himself out a little bit, so may be able to get a hit on him. Indeed he can, and that's a huge, huge hit. He's going to hide behind the rock wall here while his cannon reloads, which is absolutely the smart thing to do. You don't want to just sit out in the open and trade with a KV-1S, because a KV-1S will have a much faster reload than you. And that SU-8, we're not really sure where he is, because he's not been spotted yet. Oh, KV-1S missed his shot. He really needed to hit that one, but I think he just rushed it. And I'm not sure how he managed to miss it, because to be honest, he should have been pre-aimed on the location. And it looks like he wasn't, and he fluffed that shot and missed it. But like I said, we're not really sure where this SU-8 is, so all he can really do is keep terrain between himself and his KV-1S. Oh, and there's the SU-8. He's decided to come in for some TD action rather than going for the overhead view. Trying to lure this KV-1S into firing. Got the KV-1S to fire. Unfortunately, the fire that the KV-1S provided landed right on his chin, and he's left him with only 74 hit points here. And this SU-8 may be able to come around the corner and just derp his face off. Even a bit of splash damage would be enough. And no, the SU-8 missed. Unfortunately, Tipson was already halfway down the cliff as he missed, so he wasn't able to come back up and capitalize on that situation. So by the time he gets around to re-engage with this SU-8, he's probably going to be reloaded. So this one again is going to come down to fastest finger first. I'm just trying to fake that he's going to go around the hill here and dropping back in case the SU-8's pointed over the top here, but he's not. Nope, he's definitely not waiting on that ridge, so just going to head off towards the enemy base here. Don't want to try and play peekaboo with a artillery piece, because even if he just splashes the wall, it's going to be enough damage to take you out, especially when you've only got 74 hit points. So he's going to do the smart thing of head towards the enemy base and sit in the cap circle, and that's going to force the Su-8 to make a charge towards him. And then if he's charging, he's not pre-aiming, and you know the aiming speed on these artillery pieces are not fantastic. So we're going to sit here now behind the bush and wait for the Su-8 to come into view. This is the only real sensible direction that he could come from. I mean, he could come from the right-hand side, but nope, he's come from the left, and Tipson's already pre-aimed and waiting, and that's kill number 8 and the victory. So absolutely awesome, awesome game there from Tipson, playing in the Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger, playing clean-up crew at the end there, so picking up 8 kills and almost 5,000 points of damage. Awesome replay from you. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Don't forget, guys, if you've got yourself a great replay, then please send that into replay@screenreality.com. Link for that is in the description. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, informative, learned something, or just downright enjoyed it, then please consider hitting that subscribe button for a lot more content like this in the future. And if you really feel like it, then definitely think about hitting that like button and leaving me a comment in the comment section below, letting us know what you thought of the 2 different replays. I've been Maxwell, this has been World of Tanks, and I will catch you guys next time.